Yes. Hey, 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 welcome everybody. Welcome to Weekly Dose of Lady J. I thought we were live and listening to our music. Mwah. Welcome to Weekly Dose of Lady J. And I'm excited to have us on this evening on part 3 of our series, Bullying in Relationships. I'm excited. If you're here, let me know that you're here. I thought that we were going live. I thought that if you could let me know that you're here, send me a message. I hit live and it looks like we weren't live. So let me know if you can see me. Good evening. Hey, Leslie. Good evening. My little introduction was missed. I'm over here jamming to myself. I hate when that happens. Good evening, y'all. Welcome to Weekly Dose of Lady J. I hope y'all are having a wonderful week. I am. I'm happy that it's almost over. Listen, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share. Let everybody know that I am out here, that I have my special guest on tonight. I'm excited about tonight's show. Good evening. Good evening, Mom. It's so good to see you tonight. Looks like the people are coming on in. Man. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm going to give you all a couple more minutes to come on in. Welcome to Live Out Love, hashtag for the intellectual. This is our third series of bullying, our bullying series. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is our hump day. I'm so excited about tonight's conversation. We're going to dive and continue to go a little deeper. I'm so excited about tonight's special guest, and I'm ready to get this conversation started. I'm just going to give you all a couple of more minutes to come on in the room, like, share, pass the word, do me a favor. Let people know that Lady J is in the house. Weekly Dose of Lady J. I'm on. We're talking about bullying in relationships, continuing to go a little deeper. I cannot see, I'm trying to see if I can see comments on Facebook. If you all are in Facebook land, please let me know. Yes, it looks like you all are there. Yes, I see you in Facebook land. Cool. YouTube, awesome. Yes, I see you on YouTube as well. Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Ready for another dose. Awesome. Okay, let's get ready for our special guest. So I'm going to read his bio and we're going to bring him on in because I'm ready to get the conversation going. Awesome. Okay, so licensed therapist Dion Brown has a bachelor's degree in clinical psychology from Towson State University and a certificate of training in mental health from Sheppard Pratt Hospital. He holds a master's degree in pastoral counseling and clinical pastoral education certificate from Loyola College, and he's a national certified counselor with the National Board of Certified Counselors. He's a licensed clinical professional counselor, and he also is a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor within the state of Maryland. He is also certified with the National Association of Trauma Professionals as a trauma clinician. He's the founder and CEO of DJB Therapeutic Solutions LLC in the DMV area. I'm so glad that he's here, and I'm going to patch him in. Why don't you help me welcome licensed therapist Dion Brown? Hey, Dion.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I am well. Thank you for the invite.
I am so happy to have you here with me on tonight. So I was before we had our guests come on, we were trying to figure out if we knew each other because I lived in Maryland for so long and we know so many of the same people. And it's funny, our paths never crossed.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. First of all, are your people watching? We want to make sure your people are here. Are your people watching?
So I was attempting to go to the your Facebook page, but it's not coming up on my phone because I was going to start a watch party. So I'm not sure. Technology.
You can't start a watch party? Then it's not letting you share it. It's not.
So when I go to your page on my phone, it's just saying join us in 30 minutes. So it's not showing that it's live, unfortunately, yet.
Well, it definitely is live.
On Facebook, right?
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, on my page.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm on your page.
On my profile page. Try to see if you could go to my page. We'll give you a second to go to my page and see if you can do it.
Okay.
They're giving you love. They're saying welcome, Dion. People are saying welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It just says the first thing that I see, it says join us in 30 minutes. I'll turn the phone off and it may be my phone. So, technology. It's all right.
Can y'all do, for those of y'all who are in Facebook land, can you do a watch party? And see if those that may be friends with Dion, that we are mutual friends, see if you could do a watch party, and then maybe Dion can connect with you and then do a watch party from a mutual connection. I think Leslie may be a mutual friend. We're putting Leslie out there.
What's Leslie's last name?
Well, we can't put her last name out there like that.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. Let's see if it did you turn your phone off? I'm gonna make sure you did you reset it?
I'm turning it back on now just to see.
Okay. Because we're gonna make sure your people are able to get, because you should definitely be able to do it. So we want to make sure your people are able to, because everybody else's friends have been able to do watch parties. Crystal started a watch party, but I don't think your friends. That's my sister, so she started a watch party.
Oh, I have a Crystal.
She can tell him. You can tell him my name is Crystal Brown. My sister's Crystal Brown. Leslie said I can tell her last name, Neely. Leslie Neely. Leslie Neely. So you can start a watch party. Go to her page and okay.
Yeah, we're mutual friends.
Mutual friends, yes.
Oh, you know what? Don't need to. Once I restarted the phone, it's working now. I can see it.
See, bam. There you go.
So let me.
Okay. I hear myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I got it now.
Good?
Yep, I'm starting.
See, I was gonna say I wouldn't do you like that. There you go.
Technology.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I want your people to see you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so before we get started, I want you to tell the people, first of all, a little more about what you do. Tell the people about DJB Therapeutic Solutions. I know a little bit about it, but tell the people a little bit about who you are, a little more about who you are and what you do.
Okay, sure. So my name is Dion Brown. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor in the state of Maryland, a licensed clinical addictions therapist, and a certified trauma professional. I'm the CEO and founder of my own practice, DJB Therapeutic Solutions, LLC, which really focuses on individual therapy, integration of spirituality, mental health, and community within the DMV. I service individual clients from ages 11 to 65, and I'm with a number of private insurance networks. In addition, for secular and religious communities, I do talks and workshops on stress management and self-care. My main area of focus is self-care. I do a lot of individual talk with clients as well as group presentations for organizations and corporate as well as religious communities around stress management and self-care, as well as other workshops on depression and bullying, and a number of other topics.
So this is in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
This topic of bullying. So let's just kind of jump in and kind of go there.
Sure.
Let's talk about, first of all, personality disorders, and both of us are kind of in the field, and so well, we could kind of talk about this, I think, for hours with regards to bullying. But let's kind of talk about personality disorders and the types of personalities that are probably prone, first of all, to bullying and bullying behaviors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first of all, when we talk about personality disorders, whenever we tend to diagnose people, we tend to diagnose people on various axes. So one of those is one of those we call axis 2, which is a personality disorder. So first of all, let me say what a personality disorder is. Okay.
Right.
So whenever we diagnose somebody with a personality disorder pretty much is a consistent, pervasive pattern of behavior that a person has exhibited, over a period of time. So we don't just nilly-willy diagnose someone with a personality disorder, and there are there are various clusters of personality disorders.
Right.
So I think, probably based upon, what we're talking about, and I was looking at some stuff in reference to personality disorders and earlier, because I was just thinking about that in the context of bullying. And probably I will say definitely one of the personality disorders, if a person actually legitimately has this particular personality disorder, because sometimes people, sometimes people get, misdiagnosed or diagnosed too quickly. But if a person has this particular personality disorder, I would probably say one would be dependent personality disorder. And this is where there's an excessive dependence on others and feeling the need to be taken care of. The person may be submissive or clingy toward others. This can be male or female, no gender specific. Fear of having to provide, self-care or fend for oneself, lack of self-confidence, difficulty starting or doing projects, tolerance of poor or abusive treatment.
See that? Okay, so I'm gonna interrupt you. So
Sure.
This is gonna be an interesting conversation because I did not expect you to take that route. That's a cluster C personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I expected you to talk more about the cluster B personality disorders with regards to bullying behaviors. When I think about people who are more aggressive in their behaviors, I think more about a narcissistic type.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
So I think more about the narcissist versus the person who is the recipient of the person. Now we can definitely talk about that because I want to go there, right?
Yeah,
because I want to talk about the person who is more prone to be the recipient or the one who is more prone to receive or the one who is prone to look for or I guess I am saying it right. The one who's the recipient of the bullying behaviors, right? Versus the one who is the one who gives out the bullying behaviors and acts it out.
So let me. So I created a while ago. I did a PowerPoint presentation about bullying in general, and I did a talk for an event in DC a few years ago called "Bullying is Not Dope."
Okay.
And when we talk about bullying, and for those that don't know, last month there was a nationwide focus on suicide prevention, and this month is a strong focus on bullying. And For those, so in that context, let's look at it like this. Now I'm clearer in which you were, direction you were going. So you have the bully, okay, the person that is exhibiting the bullying behavior. That can be in, that could be in grade school. That could be that could be in the work setting. That could be in church, right? You talk about in another sex segment.
Right.
You have bully. You have the bullied.
Yeah.
And we have the bystander.
Yeah.
So let's look at it in that triad.
Can you give it again? Give the triad again, please.
Sure, absolutely. So we have the bully.
The bully. Yep.
The bullied.
Yep.
And the bystander.
Yep.
So my original response about the dependent personality disorder, if in fact the person legitimately has that particular personality disorder, my initial response was that was connected to the bullied. Now, if you're talking about the bully, and let me say this, himself or herself, because again, none of these roles are gender specific. Men bully and female bully people as well. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you were talking about the personality disorder or disorders in reference to the actual bully themselves.
Correct.
Right. So definitely, certainly, we would at least go into at least bare minimum, maybe a few. We can talk about what that might look like, but maybe a few. We would definitely contribute that to narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah.
And do you want me to go into what that is and what that means?
Sure, because I think most people may think they know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I think let me we talked before we came on about if anything was off limits. I'm going to make a comment after I what's going. I think
okay.
So narcissistic. When we talk about narcissistic, oh my Lord! When we talk about narcissistic,
yes,
personality disorder, it involves a few things. It's a belief that one is special, more important, than others. It's a person who fantasizes about their own power, their own success, or their own attractiveness. It's a person who fails to, recognize other people's needs and their feelings.
Right.
A person who exaggerates their own talents or abilities. They might have a high level of arrogance. They might expect constant.
We see that. We are experiencing that firsthand.
The country.
Yes.
Firsthand right now.
Now.
Unreasonable expectations.
Yeah.
Of favor and advantages, and often taking advantage of others. They are envious of other people, or has a belief that other people envy them. Yeah. So we are all seeing this played out right for us
before our very eyes, right?
Yeah. So that would be where the person who is the bully would fall under, having narcissistic personality.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so then let's work then the triad then. So if we have then the bully, then and if we keep it within the context of personality disorders, then where would the bullied then fall? Who would be susceptible to then being the bullied?
Yeah, probably.
Then the dependent.
Yeah, probably more so the dependent personality. The bystander, and the bystander, he or she might not necessarily might not necessarily have a personality disorder.
Right.
They just may have fear or apprehension, or if I intervene or I help, in whatever setting, because we are aware that bullying happens in a lot of different settings. Too many times when people think about bullying, we just think school age kids, but
Correct.
But it happens in a lot of settings.
Absolutely. Talked about that last week. Absolutely. It happens in a ton of settings. So it happens at work, it happens, at home. And I wanted to definitely explore the context tonight of relationships, right? And I want to segue into environmental factors and how environment kind of sets the tone for the bully, for the bullied, and even for the bystander, right? It can be the catalyst, or it can even set the tone for the bullying to take place or to be maintained, right?
Definitely.
Can you talk more about how important, or when I say important, I think we underestimate the role of environment.
Yeah, sure. So I talk with a lot of people about their family of origin,
right,
and how they grew up, their childhood dynamics, their parents, where they grew up, where they lived, their social environment, things that they were exposed to. So environment is incredibly, powerful. Major psychological theory with the psychodynamic approach at least talks about, how, there may be some other things today we look at like, but with that, it definitely just talks about how our early childhood experiences and events shape us. And they shape the way we see the world, we see society, the way we function. They shape how we function in our interpersonal interactions with people. And our environment, meaning our parents and our family of origin and our home environment and our settings and our neighborhood and all of that, plays a major role in how we relate to other people, how we deal with our emotions, whether we experience, anger, hurt, disappointment, whether or not our parents are able to safely contain those emotions for us and mirror for us that is okay and it's safe for us to feel those things, or if we have a environmental setting where we grow up where our parents are aggressive and domineering and instill strong fear in us, as well as environment in the context of growing up in school and our peer-to-peer interactions and relationships with peers and how we relate and connect with our peers as we go through school. All of that can one impact and influence a person to become a bully or set them up to be bullied. Briefly, one of the movies, one thing about me, I love a good comedy. So one of the movies that, and the name of it just went out my mind suddenly. Oh, there we go. It came back. One of the movies that I love, comedy wise, that reminds me of a case of bullying. I don't know if you've seen the movie. Is it called? It's Little. It's called Little.
Little. Yes, it's an excellent movie. Oh, it's excellent. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, in that movie, looking at environment, right? Looking at environment and how she grew up.
Yeah.
She grew up in a setting with school and her peers and her matriculating through school where she was bullied. And because she was bullied, what happened was, at a point, she transitioned as she grew and developed and she became more and more successful and more wealthy. She made a determination inside herself based upon how she was treated as she was growing up, childhood, environmental factors, developmental history, that she was not going to be bullied anymore, that she then transitioned to become the bully.
Became the bully. Oh, But that often becomes the oppressed, often becomes the oppressor.
Yep, absolutely.
That often happens. We see that repeatedly, time and time again, but that's because that becomes the mode of operation, right? That's what you know to do.
Exactly.
That's how, yeah, yeah.
So environment is absolutely major influence in how we, how we react to those situations.
I talked a little bit last week. Well, not a little, but we dived into attachment and how you talked about that, the importance of, how we attach to our parents and how our parents teach us to respond, or how they respond to our emotions, and how they teach us to relate to them, or how they relate to us. That attachment is first and foremost, it's the foundation for the rest of the relationships, for the rest of our lives. And
Yep.
it is paramount, right? Um, and I don't think we understand the impact of it. If we were bullied by our mom, or if we were bullied by our parents, or if we were neglected by our father, what that neglect, what that does to us, and what message that sends to us inadvertently, how that routes that message, what that wiring does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and with that, attachment is attachment, and attachment to our parents, our family origin, is incredibly important. First of all, we need a sense of safety and security. So first of all, we have to, in our community, sometimes both parents aren't there.
Right.
Both parents aren't there physically.
Right.
And then secondly, I've heard countless stories where my mom or dad was, people have said my mother or father was there in the house, but they weren't emotionally available.
They were absent, right?
Yeah, they weren't emotionally there for me. I was in pain. I was hurting. I had this experience in school. This happened to me, and they were not emotionally available for me. Didn't check in on me. Didn't connect with me. I felt distant them from my brothers or sisters. I felt rejected. In the case of multiple siblings. So that early attachment is very important. And you're right, it will set the stage, can set the stage for other relational things in life. But what I found also, sometimes people are, we talked about, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's also research out there that supports it. Also does damage to certain regions of the brain. It creates traumatic injury to the brain as well.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Definitely can see that.
And so then what that does is it can impair executive functioning, which then impairs your ability to make decisions, to be rational.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then it impacts your ability to decipher what's good for you. It impacts so many other areas of your life. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's not just, and so you're really setting your, we don't even understand what damage is really being done. I'm thinking about the oh gosh, the report, 1974 report. The 1974 report, Kaiser. The environmental report. Oh, Dion, you know what report it was.
Probably.
You do know what report it was. I forgot, but it ties into this. It definitely ties into this environmental factors and how environmental factors impacts children. It was, long term. And this is we can't dismiss this. We have to as we have to consider the environment.
Absolutely.
Even we have to consider it.
And the environment, like I said, it sets the stage for a lot of other relational things and dynamics. So when you're talking about, and I know you're going to go here at a point, but when you're talking about bullying in the context of people being bullied, maybe in romantic relationships, some women and men grow up in home environments where it is modeled for them that it is okay to be bullied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can go there now. We can talk about it. Let's talk. Let's talk about bullying and those romantic relationships, because as it pertains to even the narcissist, what that looks like in romantic relationships.
Oh my goodness. Well, if so, and sometimes people have traits of some of this stuff. They just have traits of it and might not necessarily meet in our world might not necessarily meet the full diagnostic criteria. But dating somebody even who has several traits of narcissism would be a very challenging relationship for the other party.
It's extremely challenging. Absolutely.
I don't need to know what that's like, but people have people have had that have that experience. So if a person who's a narcissist or has narcissistic traits, in a relationship, there's not going to be much give and take. There's not going to be
not at all.
There's not going to be much, and I'm using the word much loosely. There's not going to be much give and take. There's not going to be much compromise. There's not going to be much consideration for the other person's thoughts, feelings, etc. It's going to be all about him or her, their wants and their needs, and a high expectation that you should or you must meet whatever they are trying to get you to meet, or there's something wrong with you. And so that can become a relational problem where the person who has the narcissistic traits is in fact bullying the other person, and by bullying, it's, and by definition, purposely hurting or harming somebody with words or actions, or picking on them. So that's definitely how a person with narcissistic traits, or if they meet the full criteria for the diagnosis, how that person would bully the other partner in the relationship. That other person would be taken advantage of a lot.
Why are you laughing? Why?
I'm looking at some of the comments.
You looking at comments? Yeah, it's the narcissist, the dating of the narcissist.
Let me say this too.
Go ahead.
They can get, okay, let me classify that. So I don't want to use a label. A person who has narcissistic traits or has a diagnosis of narcissism, he or she can improve and get better, but not without treatment.
See, that's where I don't know. I mean,
I don't either, but I'm speculating. I don't know, and I don't plan to, but I'm just.
No, I'm saying even as a clinician.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not okay.
Well, let's say my hope would be that
anybody, I guess anybody can get better.
Right.
I'm closing my eyes. I'm envisioning it. Anybody, I guess anybody can get better, but the truth of the matter is narcissism is That yeah, yeah, that's some serious, Dion, that's serious.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that pride is really deep.
Certainly. It really is.
And it's because it's that person has been raised to, it's the person has been raised to that behavior has been permitted. You looking at your phone, you getting comments, what people saying? What are people?
It was something else. Don't.
Oh,
I mean, it was related but not related.
it was not related.
It was related but not related. Put it that way. Yeah.
You sure you don't want to put it out there?
It wasn't a question. Yeah, it wasn't a question.
Is the comment?
It wasn't a comment. It was actually a phone call.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. The narcissist is like given so much freedom to navigate and to be who they are for
True.
so long.
They are. So because it's right, these are so the pervasive personality disorder. So this person has been operating like this for a long time, is what you're saying, pretty much. And
I'm thinking about the man that's sitting in the Oval Office.
Okay, well, so you so you just took a jump. You took a jump out of.
No, I'm sorry. How did I take a jump?
You took a jump out of you took a jump out of the context of someone improving in a romantic relationship.
I'm sorry. Well,
Okay.
I mean, he is in a romantic relationship, right, with his wife.
Yeah, but we don't know. We really don't know how that. We don't really have much information into their day-to-day interaction. We do, but what we do know. Listen, what we do know is from a social governmental world leader perspective, we are the recipients on a global level of traits, at least minimum, right? Traits from him of narcissism. But we don't know. We
Okay,
don't.
well, we could keep it purely.
No.
I can go back to the narcissistic men that I've dated.
Okay.
That I have had experience with, and it has. I have yet to experience. It is difficult for them to change. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I think people who are in the field of psychology and deal with clinical stuff, it can be challenging definitely in dealing with relational things with people, whether those are romantic relationships, friendships, family, because you kind of pick things up quickly.
How does a person deal with that? Talk about then, I guess when you're dealing with a person like that, would it be helpful what would be the difference between assertive versus aggressive communication?
Sure.
What would be the best way to communicate with someone like that?
Okay. The recipient.
Yes, the recipient, yes.
So I think if
See, you laughing because it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to navigate.
Well, I had to think about that in the context. So definitely, you want to stay. If there's a person who is narcissistic, he or she is narcissistic in their relationship and what they do and what they say, you definitely want to let me talk about what you don't want to do. You don't want to be passive. Don't want to be
Right.
passive. You don't want to communicate in a passive way. You
Okay.
do want to be assertive. You do want to have assertive, authentic, genuine talks, discussion, set limits, set boundaries, and stand up for yourself and your rights in an assertive way. To start letting that person that's exhibiting those traits know, those narcissistic traits, know and understand that you are not going to tolerate them treating you any type of way. So
setting boundaries and being assertive.
absolutely.
Person. Okay. Setting boundaries and being assertive. Okay.
One of the
setting limitations. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. One of the things that I teach individuals and couples is utilizing a formula. There's a formula that I teach people. I don't mind. I can give it away for free. But it's a very good. It's a very good formula to. It's a very good formula for a number of different relationships. Just where you're letting the person know what you feel, why, and what you would like to be different.
Okay.
And it's very useful. It's very useful for a plethora of relationships. So it's pretty much 3, maybe 4 steps.
Okay.
You're going to thank me for this later. You'll thank me for this professionally and personally. Trust me.
Well, I thank you.
I think you will thank me for this.
Okay. All right.
This is called utilizing an I message. And
okay.
There's 3 to 4 steps to this, and all of the listeners can write this down as well. You're getting a very, very good therapeutic technique to help you communicate if you are in any sort of abusive relationship or have been with anyone who exhibits narcissistic traits or one of these other personality disorders where they are bullying you or taking advantage. So number 1, and if you don't have a pen or paper, you can use your phone to write this down. You would say to the person, this is being assertive, using an I message, you would say to the person, I feel. And after the word I feel is a parentheses, and the only thing that goes into that parentheses is a feeling word. So things like disappointed, frustrated, hurt, shocked, or joyful, peaceful, conflicted, confused. If something happened in the past that you need to address that happened days or weeks ago, you would use felt instead of feel. But number one is I feel, then parentheses, and whatever the emotion is. Number 2 is one word. The word is because. And then after because goes the content of of the why, the content, the rationale, the meaning behind what you're feeling. And you want to try to stay away from the you word right away, because you statements tend to cause the person to be guarded and defensive. So you want to describe the situation. So it's maybe something like, and I'll put this all together in a brief example in a minute, but you want to describe the situation. And then number 3, a part of being assertive is you would say these words to the person: I would like /prefer. I would like /prefer. And then you tell them what you would like or prefer. Now, so the way this looks, I had a associate who personally owed me some money. So I won't say his name live, but I said to him, I utilized an I message using those 3 steps in that relationship. It's a good long-term relationship, and I wanted to preserve it, but I needed to be assertive because I needed my $200 back. So I said to him, in all honesty, I feel frustrated and disappointed because there was an arrangement set up where there was money exchange. Now I can say you, and you did not pay me back. Okay. I would like for you to be a man of your word when it comes to business matters. That's how I put it. So I'm being assertive. I'm telling him exactly. I almost said his name. Thank you. I'm being assertive.
Please don't.
Yeah, I'm being assertive with saying what I feel, why, the because, and what I would like. Now, sometimes there are people in situations where you're saying to yourself, well, what about the hard cases, or the person that's just not getting it, and you using an iMessage and you're doing it a few times and they're still acting a certain way. So occasionally you can skip down a few lines and put a star next to this one. Occasionally you have to say this. This is almost like a threat, but not really, but sort of. You say, if this doesn't change, then, and you share with them whatever the consequence is.
Okay.
And that is my assertive formula that I teach, have taught hundreds of individual clients and couples.
Okay.
Because
did you all get that?
It's no guesswork. So it's I feel, whatever the feeling is, because you describe the situation. I would like / prefer. You tell them what you would like or prefer. And if you use the iMessage over and over and it doesn't work out too well, then you do the if this doesn't change, then, and impose the consequence.
Let me ask if there are any questions out here really fast, Deon, before we go any further. Are there any questions out here? Any questions in the audience? This is good. Good. Any questions? I definitely, with the time we have left, I want to explore. There's a couple more things I want to explore. We have a few minutes left, and I want to see if we can explore it. Bullying and friendships, and I want to see if we can explore possibly bullying and this may be a little controversial, but bullying and parenting, if there's a such thing. Do you believe that there's a such thing? Here's a question. Wait, before we go there, here's a question. How do you recover? How do you recover from a narcissist? How do you recover?
Okay.
How do you recover from a narcissist?
Well, so first and foremost, my training is to tend to kind of stay away from generalized labels. So with that being said, I would probably say, look at it in the sense of, this person has a disorder. Okay. This person has a person. It's a person. First of all, it's a person. Because we want to, one of the things that when I worked at Hopkins for 10 years, I told my patients in a hospital setting, I say, there's much more to you than your diagnosis,
Right.
So I want to acknowledge that the person might have a narcissistic personality disorder. And again, sometimes people just have traits. But in answer to your question, just want to make mention of that. In answer to your question, certain things for different people in relationships are deal breakers for some and not for others. Some people are like, I really like this person. I will stay with this person, but this person needs to get some help. They need to go see somebody to work through their issues. And some people are kind of like that. So some people are willing to work with that person as long as they are getting help. And if they improve, most likely, if the person individual improves and you're staying with the person, most likely the relationship will improve and you will get some healing yourself. One, not the only way, but also with that, sometimes people exit from relationships where they say, this person exhibit narcissistic traits and it hurt me, it damaged me in some sort of ways. Then two things, clearly as you enter into a new and fresh relationships, You know what you cannot deal with and what you will not tolerate. So moving forward with newer interactions and relationships, I would say be more quicker to set limits and boundaries, as you now have had that bad experience, and you might need to get some individual work done with yourself if you've been hurt or damaged in some sort of way, or the person who has narcissistic personality disorder damage your self-esteem, damage your self-confidence, damage your self-worth, how you view yourself, how you think you should be treated in a relationship. All of that can happen.
Okay.
Sorry, a long-winded answer.
No, that's good. And can I add to that? Yeah. I would add to that, self-affirming statements.
It's good.
I would add self-affirming statements. Begin to write those and say those over yourself every morning, because one of the things that is damaged is definitely self-esteem and self-value, and you may not realize it, but that damage is done inadvertently. So self-affirming statements for sure. Engage in purposeful self-care intentionally. Great question. Any other questions out there? Any other questions? Any other questions? I'm looking at the time, and you're welcome. Very much so. Welcome. I'm looking at the time, and I'm hesitant to dive into another topic, another phase of this.
I'm good. I'm good if you need to. Whatever.
I want to talk about this because I believe this is very real. I want to touch this, and I won't talk about it long. I want to hit bullying and as it pertains to parenting. Can we do that, sir?
We can try. That's interesting. Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. I'm following your lead with that.
I want to talk about it. Do you remember the movie Mommy Dearest? I think it was.
Merciful Savior. Yes.
Why did you say, huh?
Very good example.
Very good what?
Very good example. That movie is traumatic.
I do believe that there are parents who have taken their authority and have abused what they've been given. I do. Facts. And I want to talk about it. Particularly in the Black community, and not just I'm talking about it in the Black community because I'm Black, right? I've seen it though. A lot of my clients, I work as a therapist, and most of my clients are Caucasian. I see it I do see it in the white community. I see it a lot, but I can speak to it. I'm speaking to it because I'm African American, but I see it a lot in the white community. Okay. And there is a thin line between using your nurture, your power, the power of your influence and nurture and authority, and what you've been given, if you want to, spiritualize it, by God or by nature, naturally, right? As parents, to care for children, And then there's one thing to take that and to use that to care for your children, and to be mindful and respectful of them, And there's something completely different to abuse them and to bully them, to manipulate them, and to harm them.
Facts.
And to take that into their adulthood life.
Okay.
It's 9:30, and I usually don't go past the hour. I just want to hit this for a few moments because this is a topic that I felt very, very necessary to hit as it pertains to bullying, because I believe there are people who are listening who are adults who are abused or still damaged adults because they were bullied as children, not properly parented, but bullied as children.
Yep. So I hear stories a lot in our community where the upbringing, the family development, family history, the environment, family of origin stuff was not ideal, where grown adults in their 30s or 40s, when we go over childhood history, when I do my biopsychosocial spiritual evaluation, when we go over childhood history, and talking with them about their families and how they grew up and how was your relationship with your mother? How was your relationship with your father? What typical stuff, was there any trauma, what type, and etc. And there are a number of adults who are in their 30s or 40s who verbalize being abused / bullied by their parents, by control and manipulation, by some harsh things, some harsh punishment. And I have a few people that I see presently who the impact and influence of what their mother or father did or said to them, and the control that they exerted over them really resonates in what you're talking about: damage, executive functioning, their inability to make independent, assertive decisions for themselves.
Yes.
And so then that becomes a focus of our therapeutic work to help them go through one, self-discovery and exploration to figure out who they are, independent of their family, their heritage, their history, their culture, what's going to be the best course of action for their lives. You can still respect your parents, honor them, but you are an independent grown adult. Now, how is the rest of your life going to look for you? We know we understand what your family values are, what your father said, what he commented, what he instilled in you, what your mother value system is. But now that you are at this point, what are we going to work on together as your therapist, as your clinician, because therapy is a relationship, it's a partnership. What are we going to work on together so that we can help you develop the ideal picture of what you want your life to look like? And so you can, and I tell the people that I see often, we look at the past. I take you to the past. We go look at the past. I don't let people get stuck though in their past. We look at it for information, to gain some insight into what's going on with them today, how they're thinking, how they're functioning. But we tend to stay in the here and now, and then look at what the future is going to look like for them. So it can be tough though, that family history stuff and how their parents talk to them verbally, how they treated them in their actions, how they reprimanded them, all of that stuff can matter. and people can, like you said, people, sometimes people are 30s and 40s and literally afraid to do something different than the will of their parent. That's abuse.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us how we can get in contact with you. How can we get in contact with you? Thank you so much for being here. I only kept you 5 minutes over. How can we get in contact with you?
Sure. You can reach me a number of ways. So first, let's start with social media. I am on Facebook under my name, Dion Brown. I am also on Facebook under the DMV Therapist. I am on Instagram under _DMV Therapist. I now have a podcast that is on Spotify, and it's in the developing phases. It's on Spotify. It's called the Lost and Found Podcast. It's called the Lost and Found Podcast. My website, www.djbtherapeutic.solutions.com. For the church and religious folks, www.thechurchclinician.com. And you can email me at info@djb, that's the practice, info@djbtherapeutic.solutions.com.
See, I knew I was hitting on something. Somebody asked a question about this. Can we answer this really fast?
Sure.
Someone asked, how do you separate the difference between abuse and reverence toward your parents?
Very complicated question. So, right. So me just thinking off the top of my head, I said that because we have to consider, okay. So yeah, I wish that person was able to chime in because I have so many questions about that. I have questions about that question. That's how my mind thinks, unfortunately. But so let me try to go through an angle. If we're talking about reverencing them, meaning kind of
it could be reverence from the perspective of honor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. If I know this person a little bit, so I think it's probably more from the perspective of spiritual honor, respect.
Yeah, so you can reverence or give them honor or honor them for you can honor them for their role, their purpose in your life then and now.
Yes, she said yes, I was right. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can honor them for their role, their purpose in your life then and now, their title. But if you feel that they are and or have been abusive to you, verbally, mentally, emotionally, or some other sort of way, you have a right to be assertive and set limits and boundaries with your interaction. One of the things that I work with people on, so let me just give you, I do have a client who gives honor to his mother, but because of all of who she is and what she does in his life or to him mentally and emotionally, we've worked on him setting limits or boundaries with her, so she no longer has as much access
to him
and or influence in his life. So sometimes you have to say basically like here and no further, set boundaries and limits, limit your access, limit their ability to contact you, bother you, afflict you, abuse you in some sort of way. And you may have to end up honoring from a distance. Good question.
Great question.
Very good question.
Excellent question. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Please contact Dion. He's on Facebook. He gave you his information. Dion, listen, thank you so much for gracing my platform.
Sure.
I hope that you will come back. I hope you will stay in touch. And I look forward to possibly a future collaboration.
Definitely.
I hope that this series has been influential, impactful to someone, to somebody's. Next week, I will be concluding with panel, I'm going to talk a little more about this whole issue of bullying. Going to bring a couple of people back. Deanna, I didn't ask you to come back. I know that you're a busy man, so I didn't balk you. I didn't ask you to come back. But gonna have Loretta and Lois come back, and we're gonna do a panel discussion. And there's some I want to talk about bullying from uh, spiritual witchcraft, and gonna dive into it from that perspective on next week. And I'm gonna share a little more of my story next week. And I hope that you will tune in. If you feel led to support the platform, please feel free to do so. $ weekly dose of Lady J. Please spread the word, like, share, and subscribe. I'm so happy that you tuned in today. Once again, Dion, thank you so much. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere, Dion. You all have a good night. Sleep well. Have a great weekend. And once again, share, pass, and let other people know about tonight's show. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.